We planned our trip for 3 years. This made it extra devastating when events took a turbulent turn. Before the holiday, I shared a student house with Gina and 2 other girls from her class. We didn't have any major fights. I'd heard horror stories about people falling out for life over washing up and recycling, but we lived in near harmony, especially me and Gina. Macy lived in another house share, but we spent a lot of time hanging out as a 3 throughout our student years, and I can't recall a single argument. I guess Macy and Gina didn't get on in forced proximity, and having never lived together, we didn't know this before traveling. The journey out was almost problem-free, but the taxi from the airport dropped us in the wrong place. Our phone batteries were low, and the 5G connection kept cutting out, so we struggled to use our navigation apps. At one point, Gina was convinced we had to go down hundreds of steps to get to the hotel, so we descended in the unbearable heat, only to learn we needed to climb back up. It was exhausting work. My blouse was soaked with sweat by the time we reached the top. Macy struggled the most because she had a suitcase instead of a duffel bag, so she was irritable and called Gina a pathetic airhead. I know it's not the worst insult in the world, but Gina is sensitive and took it to heart. This was the start of our troubles. We eventually found the hotel, and we all felt better after a shower and some rest. But our contentment was short-lived when Macy discovered we didn't have air conditioning. Gina made the reservation, so she took the brunt of Macy's rage. It turned out there was AC, but the unit in our room wasn't working. It got fixed after a call to reception. Macy didn't apologize to Gina, so the atmosphere was tense. We headed out to dinner, but all the restaurants were full, so we went to a corner store instead. I'm vegan, and there weren't many suitable options. I felt grouchy with hunger, but tried not to take it out on the others because it wasn't their fault. I decided to be proactive and made reservations for the rest of the week. I thought the girls would be pleased when I mentioned it the next morning, but they complained they didn't have the money to eat out every night. "I'll cancel half of them," I said. "No, you've done it now," Macy sighed. "And what will you eat if we cancel? The store wasn't exactly overflowing with vegan food," Gina added. The mood improved because we were excited to explore. Gina loved the museums, and Macy organized scuba diving, which will forever be one of the best experiences of my life. There was some bickering between my friends, but overall they were getting on, and I started to believe the previous arguments had been a blip. Everything went south during the final days of the holiday. We were all tired from the heat, so we decided to spend the rest of the week lazing on the beach. The first beach we visited was crowded and reeked of sun cream. Gina said she felt claustrophobic. Macy told her to stop being a snowflake, but after a child spit black currant juice over her, much to Gina's amusement, she agreed to move on. We found a quieter and more secluded beach, but Gina spent the entire hike there telling her Instagram followers about the juice incident between bouts of hysterical laughter. This put Macy on edge, and I feared a serious fallout was on the horizon. "My hair is so sticky," Macy complained when we were settled on the new beach. "Go and swim in the sea. That'll wash it out," I suggested. "Salt is a natural shampoo," Gina concurred. A man with a beer belly who I guessed to be in his late 40s approached us while Macy was in the water. "I saw you from across the beach," he said in a heavy accent. "You very beautiful," he added. His comments seemed to be directed at me. Thanks," I replied. "You call yourself what?" "I'm sorry?" I think he's asking your name, Gina whispered. Oh, I'm Gemma. This is Gina. Pleasure to meet you, he said, giving me an overly long handshake. Then, to my horror, he planted a slimy kiss on the back of my hand. I have a proposition for you, he began. I earn much money. You come live with me. I pay everything. I started feeling seriously uncomfortable. I glanced at Gina. I could tell she felt the same. That's very kind, but I have a boyfriend, I told him. Is your boyfriend make money? Do you have boyfriend? He asked Gina. No, yeah. Who is this? Macy asked. Some random guy, I replied quietly, hoping the man wouldn't hear or understand. Can you fuck off, please? Macy asked the man, although it wasn't much of a question. You say bad word. Yeah, fuck off. You don't have to be rude, Gina said between her teeth. He could be dangerous. You're putting Gemma at risk by entertaining him, Macy snapped, making no effort to lower her voice. Very nice to meet you, the man said to me, clutching my hand between his sweaty palms. Can I... your number? I don't have a phone, I lied. The man looked like he didn't believe me, but wandered back to his part of the beach. It's an open space with lots of people around. It's not like he was following us through a back alley. You didn't have to be so rude. And how exactly was I putting Gemma at risk? Gina disputed, her eyes full of tears. He was a creep. Neither of you should have entertained him. He didn't mean us any harm, Gina said. Then you're fucking naive, Macy snapped, stuffing her things into her bag before storming off. The man started back toward us, so we quickly packed up our belongings and hurried after her. You put us at risk by leaving us on our own with him, Gina fumed. But he's oh so harmless, remember? Can we please get along? I pleaded. This is our last chance to spend time together before we get jobs and live miles apart. Good, Macy muttered, but I don't think Gina heard. We had established a fragile truce by the time we sat down outside a cafe for milkshakes. Remember, we need to book the taxi to the airport, Macy reminded me. This is when the trip really turned sour. Our flight was at 6:30 a.m. the day after next. We were on a small island. There was no Uber service, and we soon discovered early morning taxis needed to be booked far in advance. I rang every firm, but they had nothing available. I can't believe this, I said, close to tears. We couldn't afford to reschedule the flight. Let's ask when we get back to the hotel. They might be able to help, Gina suggested. The hotel staff did go above and beyond to try and resolve the problem, but unfortunately, they were also unable to pin down a taxi. One receptionist said our best option was to travel to the airport the night before. He even helped us book the coach. He told us the main part of the airport is closed at night, but there's an area for stranded passengers to sleep. It wasn't ideal, but at least we would make our flight. We spent the next day milling round the little shops and cafes before returning to the hotel in time to pack and get to the bus station. Our coach stopped at the train station at 11:30 p.m. All the other passengers alighted. The driver said something to us in his native language. I'm sorry, we only speak English, Gina told him. You here, the driver said, pointing out the door. We're going to the airport, Macy replied. No understand, the driver responded. I think we have to get out here, I said. But the hotel said the coach went to the airport, Gina objected, her voice rising in pitch. Macy had a map open on her phone. It's a 3-hour walk from here, she told us. Maybe there's a train. Let's go and look, I said. The driver unloaded our bags, then he left, going back in the direction we came, confirming my suspicions that the coach terminated at the train station. To our horror, there were no trains until the next morning, by which time we'd have missed our flight. "There's a hotel over there. We'll just have to get another flight," I said. "With what money?" Gina cried. "I haven't got enough." "I would pay for you, but I don't think I have enough for both of us," I replied, doing the maths in my head, trying to work out if I'd be able to pay for the hotel and a new flight. I turned to Macy in panic. "Don't look at me. I haven't even got enough for myself. I told you we shouldn't have eaten out every night. But you said not to when I was going to cancel the reservations. So it's my fault?" "Do you need a taxi?" a man called out to us. He gestured to an unmarked car beside him. "I can take you wherever you need to go." Macy grabbed the handle of her suitcase and started walking towards him, but I held her back. "It's not a registered taxi," I said quietly. "The car's unmarked, and we know all the taxi companies were fully booked." Macy replied, "He'll probably overcharge us because he's not a real taxi driver. I've read about it happening, but we don't have much choice." "It's not safe. I'm not going," Gina said. "How are you getting home then?" "I'll ring my parents in the morning to ask for more money." "Good for you. My mom is a single parent working 3 jobs to get food on the table for my little brothers. I have no choice. I'm going, even if it's by myself." The wheels of Macy's suitcase clattered across the ground as she approached the taxi driver. He lifted her luggage into the car. "My parents will pay for you as well," Gina called after her. Macy shook her head. I knew she was too proud to accept help. Maybe if they've gotten along better throughout the week, it would have been different, but there was no way she'd be in debt to Gina now. "We need to go. I have customers to pick up from the airport," the driver told us. "I don't know what to do," I said. "Go with her. She won't be safe on her own. I'll go to the hotel." "Do you have enough money?" "I don't know, but I can sleep here if not." I gave her the rest of my cash, aside from what I thought I'd need for the taxi. "Ask to sleep in the lobby if you haven't got enough. You shouldn't be out here alone. Or try to get a hold of your parents for the money tonight. It's the middle of the night back home. I don't think they'll answer the phone. Then tell the hotel you can pay the rest in the morning. Give them your phone or jewelry as reassurance." "I'll be fine. I probably have enough cash with what you gave me anyway." Gina gave me a quick hug. "Try to persuade her not to go. She won't listen to me," she said as we pulled apart. I knew that wasn't really an option. Gina's parents got by, but weren't exactly wealthy. We couldn't expect them to pay for 3 missed flights. My parents were drowning in medical bills. I didn't want to burden them with the cost of a replacement ticket. I hated leaving Gina, but my friends were at an impasse, and I figured of the 2, Macy would be in more danger if left alone. The driver loaded my bag into the car. I joined Macy in the back seat. "Can we wait to check she gets into the hotel safely?" I asked. "Of course," the driver agreed, and we watched Gina cross the road and enter the building. It didn't look expensive. It probably catered to travelers waiting for trains and coaches. I hoped Gina would push for them to let her stay if she didn't have enough money, but she didn't have the most forceful of personalities. I was about to ask the driver to wait to see if she comes out again, but he was already pulling away, and he had other customers to pick up, so he wouldn't want to wait around. I opened the map on my phone, intending to follow our progress and check we were going in the right direction for the airport. The 5G connection kept dropping out, but we seemed to be en route. Then I had a terrifying thought. We were told at the hotel that the airport was closed at night, so how could the driver have people to collect? I didn't mention anything to Macy because I didn't want to frighten her, and the hotel staff didn't say specifically what time the airport closed. It could be the shops and restaurants shut, but the odd flight still arrived. The hotel staff were also wrong about our coach going to the airport, so they weren't exactly the font of all knowledge. I found myself drifting to sleep. I was awoken abruptly by Macy's voice. "Are we going the right way?" she was asking the driver. It took a moment for my eyes to make out our dark surroundings, but we were on a narrow woodland road. "It's a shortcut," the driver answered. "Can we stick to the main road?" Macy requested. The driver ignored her. Fear spiked my heart rate. "Please, can we take the main road? I don't mind if it costs more," I said clearly. He didn't respond. "How long have we been on this road?" I whispered to Macy. "Not long. I told him to go back as soon as he made the turning." We'd been off the motorway for a while before that, but my phone said we could still get to the airport that way. I tried to check the map on my phone, but it couldn't connect to the internet. The signal cut out seconds later. "Fuck," Macy muttered. I thought she must have seen the signal bar deplete on her own phone, but she was looking ahead. Another car was blocking the road, its taillights shining in the darkness. Macy went to open her door, but there was a loud click. The driver had locked us in. "Let us out!" Macy shrieked. She climbed forward, looking for the button that unlocks the doors, but the driver struck her in the face with his fist. She cried out as she fell back, her nose spurting blood. It looked broken. While I was distracted by Macy's injury, the driver snatched my phone from my hand. "Where's the other one?" he barked. I looked around, but couldn't see Macy's phone. "Where is it?" "I don't know," I yelled, tears streaming down my face. "There was no signal anyway. Please just let us go." Another car pulled up behind us. Macy started gasping for air like she was about to have a panic attack. I saw her phone light up underneath the passenger seat. It was a text. I reached for it while the driver was distracted by people getting out of the other cars. The message was from Gina. It read, "Help! Call the police!" The signal flickered between nothing and one bar. I was shocked and contemplating what to do when I heard another click. The doors were unlocked. I reached for the handle, but it swung away from me. A large man dragged me from the car. It wasn't the driver. This man reeked of sweat. I screamed. He didn't try to stop me or cover my mouth as he pinned me to the ground. The area must have been so remote that he didn't expect anyone to hear. I tried to kick him. I think my knee connected a few times, but he barely flinched. He lifted my face in his huge hands and smashed my head back against the woodland floor. Pain erupted in my head and neck. The man's face blurred above me. Macy's screaming stopped. I couldn't do anything except cry. Then I heard a wail of pain. "Catch her!" the driver yelled. I managed to look around. Macy was staggering into the woods. A third man pursued her, followed by the driver. A fourth man was groaning on the ground, clutching his eyes. Macy must have dug her nails into the sockets. "Run! Don't worry about me!" I screamed. The man on top of me punched me in the face. I woke up confused and nauseous on a cold bed of leaves. It took me 10-15 seconds to remember what happened. I heard voices. The men. They were speaking in a foreign language. I turned my head the tiniest amount to see where they were without letting them know I was awake. They were stood in a huddle, arguing. Macy was nowhere in sight. I was worried she might have been tied up in one of the cars, but the men's panicked voices gave me hope that she'd escaped. The men were 3 car lengths away from me. I wondered if that would be enough of a head start if I made a run for it, but my head felt like it was burning, and any slight movement rendered me disorientated. I rolled under the nearest car. The leaves beneath me sounded like gunfire in my state of fear. I waited for feet to appear beside me, to be dragged out from my hiding place, But instead, their frantic voices reached a whole new level when they noticed my absence. Car doors slammed, engines started. I couldn't stay where I was. They would see me in the middle of the road if they reversed out, and in their rear view mirrors if they drove onwards. I rolled out from under the car into the woods. It was a narrow road, and the trees were dense, so I was concealed by the darkness in mere seconds. But I was sure the movement would have caught their attention, that they'd spot me in the wing mirrors. But they didn't. They drove away. I cried as their lights and engines faded to nothing. I woke up to someone crouched over me. I screamed and tried to wriggle out of their grasp until I saw it was a woman. She was wearing a medical uniform, blue and red lights behind her. "She's over here," the woman shouted. I heard footsteps approaching. They sounded shuffling because of the leaves underfoot. "Gemma!" I recognized Macy's voice. I cried as she held my head in her arms, her tears wetting my hair. "Gina," I said urgently, remembering the text. "There was a message on your phone. She needs help." It was a battle to get the police and medics to understand the severity of Gina's situation. Macy's phone was lost, so I couldn't show them. I became more and more irate as I tried to explain, until they eventually sent an officer to the train station. I later learned that Macy had hidden in the woods before making it back to the main road to flag down a passing car. The men haven't been caught. The police checked the cameras at the train station, but the car's registration plate was fake, and the driver himself stood in a blind spot, which he was careful not to leave. I hadn't seen it as a red flag that he didn't approach us at the time. I assumed he didn't want us to feel threatened. There's so much I wish I could do differently. You're probably thinking we should have done this, or we were stupid for not doing that. But thankfully, our attackers made mistakes too. If you take anything from this story, please be careful abroad. Macy and I returned home and we're trying to move on with our lives, but it's not easy. She's been diagnosed with PTSD. It doesn't seem fair that she developed it and I didn't because she was the fighter. I would be dead or a victim of human trafficking if it weren't for her. Gina hasn't been found. A surveillance camera caught her at a bus stop down the road from the train station about 20 minutes after we left her. Then she walked out of range and wasn't seen again. Her family don't blame me, but I'll never forgive myself. Her sister is desperate to know what happened, even if it means finding her body. I understand that perspective. It's agony not knowing. But personally, if she can't come home, I'd rather live in hope that she's alive somewhere, that she'll one day escape from her abductor and return to us. My favorite fantasy is one where she loses her memory after being left for dead by the man from the beach, but she puts it behind her and lives happily, getting married and having children under a new identity. If you're somehow listening, Gina, I love you, and I'm sorry for leaving you.